You having fun there?
I am. It was some good music today.
It was. I was too busy just watching for whenever you're gonna give the signal of like, come on, we're going.
Oh goodness. Thank you for the soundtrack, Druid. A sound check. Are we still okay? Can people hear me? And okay. Let me move this closer. Ah! Let's see. Who just subscribed? I can't see it.
Mardim. It was
Oh,
Mardim.
Maradim! Hello, hello! Thank you so much for your support. Volume a little better, Druid. It's probably my fan. Let's see, let me turn that down.
I definitely don't hear your fan.
Yeah, but it interferes. It interferes. So, okay. We are live streaming to two different social medias today.
We are. We are. We're a pop-up over here, and we're doing stuff over there. And I've got the worst allergies this last week. Oh my God.
Nah.
They're so bad.
I'm sorry. Okay, thanks, Druid. Yeah, my arm got tired, so Double T had to sit down for a minute. But what is it that you have, my friend? You've been shaking this little tambourine. Oh, it's not a tambourine, it's a little patch. It's a little patch. It was the Baltimore Applique Society's 30th anniversary.
Did you just go to a meeting of theirs?
I did. I went to the birthday party yesterday, or the anniversary party. It
Oh,
was fun. Yeah. A bunch of past presidents were there, and I want to say it's the very first president. She's one of the founders. She got up and talked and kind of told the story about how the group got started, and we looked at a whole bunch of like eye-poppingly gorgeous quilts. A quilter, Barbara Blanton, was there. I don't know if you've heard of her. She is like she puts every appliquer I know to shame because she schedules all of her quilting, or her applique. She doesn't always quilt all of her own quilts. I guess depending on her schedule, she sends them out. But I mean, these are like really, really, really in-depth Baltimore album quilt type quilts. And if you've ever looked at one of those, you know there are tiny little pieces. They're very intricate. She also does a lot of stuff with circles. And anybody who is joining me for Mary Witherwax knows circles are a challenge. There's lots of them a lot of times in these old applique quilts. And so Barbara Blanton explained that, you know, this one quilt she showed us had 1,500 circles in it.
oh my.
Yeah, and they were probably like the size of a dime. And she said, well, here's my process for circles. And she explained how she does it. And she said, I can do 100 circles in an hour, not sewing them on, but like prepping them. Because there's kind of some shortcuts you do to prep them so that they're easy to applique on and they're round. So she's like, I can do 100 a night, get them prepped and ready to go. So that's like 1 hour for 15 days and all my circles are done. And I'm like, I love that dedication, and she gets quilts made. She's amazing. But I was like, huh. I don't know if I have that in me.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So, but it was a lot of fun, and I won a door prize, you guys. So, this one. So, I don't know if you've ever seen one of these really in-depth applique quilt patterns, basically.
Oh my.
Yeah, you get all of these full-size things. This is like a $50 pattern because it's intricate. And it's a fundraiser. These were sold as a fundraiser. I think they still sell them. This was in 2006. And the quilt is courtesy of Jan Whitlock Textiles. This is the Elizabeth McCullough Hervey quilt. So this is the door prize I won.
Oh my God.
I mean,
so wait, it's a reproduction of an actual antique quilt?
Yes, this is an actual antique quilt.
Oh, I love this ship.
Yeah, the Baltimore Applique Society worked with Jan Whitlock Textiles to pattern this. And yeah, it is.
And you're going to have it made up in 100 days?
Yeah, so if I follow Barb Blanton's her process, I mean, she showed us.
It doesn't look like a lot of circles though.
No, it is it is a what is the word I'm looking for? There is so much applique in this quilt, like not much of it's not covered. So anyway, I made a bold statement and said I will make this quilt before I die.
Oh, honey.
So yeah,
I think, you know what? Just tell everyone you misspoke and you meant like it will be finished before your child dies.
Well, see, yeah, I'm looking at this as like, yeah, I got to live to 102 because I got to finish this quilt. So anyway, it and you know what the really cool thing is, I was reading the story of the quilt and reading about, you know, the Jan Whitlock Textiles, the person that owned it. And there's a block in there. I posted it to my Instagram. It's like the last picture in the series. There's a block in here that Dr. Dunton wrote about the topic.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's corny. It's this little, I think it's a children's book. And then it was picked up and the something about it's this little character called Little Lucy. And she appears in a couple different Baltimore album quilts that Dr. Dunton studied. And so he had learned about who Little Lucy is. And I think in this quilt it's called Lucky Lucy or something. But she's, you know, walking along with what I think are lambs. They are very bizarre looking. But she's with a little guy who I think is supposed to be a shepherd. He's got a shepherd's crook. So I'm going to assume it's lambs. Anyway, I thought, long story short, as I was reading that, I'm like, all right, Dr. Dunton, when he appears, you have to say, okay, how high do you want me to jump? Got to make this quilt before I'm 102. So
yeah, man, if you start making that, you certainly better document the process.
Oh boy. If I start making that quilt, yeah, everybody's coming with me because it's something else. It truly is.
I will volunteer to have it when you're done if, you know, if you're going to hate it by the time you're done.
So, you know, I firmly believe in you can't take it with you, but if I make that quilt, it will be my burial shroud. I will be taking it with me. Real quick before we get into it, I, you know, had a fun weekend, but also got a lot of sewing done.
What?
I had planned to do other things.
Like what?
You know, when you're like moving some more stuff to my storage unit and actually organizing some stuff because post seminar I just took a whole bunch of stuff and just went threw it in there. So I need to get it organized. So yeah, that had been the plan this weekend. And then, you know, when you're sitting on the couch, it's really pretty outside and the windows are open and you're like, I'll just sew for an hour. And then that's like, oh, let me just sew for one more hour. So I did get some work done. I started working on this, Benefactor's Diamonds. I think I mentioned this. I mentioned this in one of our streams. I don't know if it was mine or one of ours, but this is our friend Dawn, Collector with a Needle. She just released this pattern. It's English paper piecing, tiny diamonds. And so I got one stretch of the back side done.
Wow.
So that would be, it's not this view, this is the inside view, but this is the back side. And I'm going to be a little bit of an overachiever, and I decided to do some fancy. So because I chose colors that are different than what Dawn has in the example, she sewed like the reproduction, like trying to sew it kind of as it looked with reproduction fabrics. But I was like, oh no, I want to do something fun. So not that the original colors weren't fun. They're just not mine. That sounded awful. I wanted to do something more of like, you know, my style. I love rainbows and glitter and stuff. So anyway, I decided to piece a pattern. So I drew it out on paper. And so this will go in there in the center.
Oh.
And then this one will be,
aren't you such an overachiever?
Flipped the other way. Yeah. So anyway, it'll be two of these, one on either end, and then this kind of fancy, they're actually going to have some blocks in between, some little... Anyway, English paper piecing is relaxing. I like to do it. Somebody had mentioned on Instagram, oh, all of that handwork. I'm like, but I like to do this. It's, you know, and all of a sudden you have the thing kind of always almost done. Yeah, so...
That's going to be really pretty.
It's my weekend, yeah. So what'd you do this weekend?
Did I do things this weekend? Well, right now my car is dropped off at the tire place because guess what I got as a lovely token from AQSG seminar? I got a nail in my tire.
Ah, it's better than COVID.
They're either gonna patch it or I'm gonna need, some new tires. And let's see, this weekend I took photos of that big, massive lot of sewing stuff that I bought right before seminar. So there's gonna be quite an unboxing coming up. I showed it off. I just got an update on my car. It's all set. They were able to patch it. I'm very glad because I leave on Thursday to go up to Maine for a few days. So there might be some quilty goodness that I find while I'm up there.
Very exciting. And I appreciate the fact that that Sunday could let us know that your car is all set.
Yes. Well, you know something? I had them call his phone instead of mine because I knew that we'd be, and this is very important. So, so there's going to be an unboxing. I took photos for that. I started taking photos for Mocklean that we're doing on the Quilt Nerding Needlework Nights on this Wednesday, the 18th. I started doing reading for tomorrow's Book Talk Tuesday, the next round. I can't believe it's already been a week since we did that.
I know.
I did laundry. I took my dog for a walk in the woods.
Those are all good things.
I still don't really know what day it is. I'm still not I slept, I ate really yummy food at Korean barbecue. I don't know. Is it Friday? I don't know.
It's funny. I saw a couple people that were at seminar. I saw them yesterday at the AQS or the BAS celebration, and I kind of asked everybody you survived seminar, and they're all like, it was so much fun. It was exhausting. I had to take a couple days afterwards to sleep. Us too.
Yeah.
So that was funny. Patchwork tires. No, that's commitment to your hobby. Indeed. I love it when they can patch a tire. You don't have to buy all new.
No, because I bought some tires not too long ago, so I was going to be annoyed. And it was a pretty big, Sunday took a picture. It was pretty, I was like, oh man, that's probably too big for them to patch. So yeah, but hey, I didn't have to spend a ton of money because I already spent a ton of money at seminar, and I might spend money in Maine.
Yeah. Well, before we get to it, I have an unboxing.
Oh.
Yeah, I had purchased, every now and then I'm doing research and I fall into eBay or I topple over into Mercari.
Oh yeah, when she says topple over, she means I tripped while running over the only time you're running.
Yes, I don't run unless there's quilts and needlework tools involved.
And things on sale.
Oh my gosh, Robin, you woke up yesterday, so it was Monday. I've done that before, and that's a beautiful mistake to make unless you've got stuff going on, important stuff, because you think it's Monday and you're like, oh, I'm going to be productive. And then you're like, oh my gosh, it's actually the weekend.
Yeah, I do the opposite.
Yeah, see, when you do the opposite, you're like, oh, it's Monday. Crap, I thought it was Sunday. Yeah, I know the feeling. So, what's interesting is this box says eBay, yet I know based on the address, I bought this on Mercari. So if you
recycling at its finest.
Well, but what I found, I think, is that a lot of eBay sellers and Mercari, they sell on both places, so they'll list on both places. Mm-hmm. I've only one time run into a situation where what they listed, they had double listed it, and I bought something that they had sold on the other platform, and I was like,
Haven't you also once? I think it was you that told me that you discovered something that was dual listed at different prices by the same seller.
Yes, and it's interesting because so Mercari has started doing this thing. They haven't always done it because I've been buying stuff on there for a while, but now they charge all the fees to the buyer. So the seller is getting like this flat rate. And, you know, as a seller, that's great, right? But as a buyer, you're like, well, now that I see what those fees are, I don't know if I want to buy this thing. Kind of unfortunate. So, ooh, all right.
Yeah, get with the program here, girl. It's almost 2:30.
My streams. People know how my streams are.
I know, but we got a lot of stuff to look at.
I know. Look. She's a pretty
did you show that to me?
No, I think my mom bought one.
Oh.
This one,
where are her arms?
I think she just has these little stubby arms. Yeah, I'd had my eye on this for a while, and it's not in super pristine condition, but it's in pretty good condition. And it's a pincushion, and she has her little hanger that she hangs. And I think the bow, this thing knotted around her waist is maybe original to her because it looks like the same ribbon, but I feel like there's something else that was supposed to be there. I don't know. Anyway, these are pretty popular. They're for like the 20s, I think. Early 20th century. So
she looks to be in pretty good shape to me, other than like I'm still just like, where are her arms?
Yeah, she's got some like marks on her feet, like her foot area, and yeah, the front of her is silky, I guess. It's like a silk, and then the back is like a cotton. So anyway, yeah,
she's cute, and I'm assuming you got her for a good deal.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I had liked her for a long time, and I think that the seller had that, and that's another thing. If you don't shop very often on eBay or Mercari, they both, if you like something, you put it in your watch, your watch list. A lot of sellers will offer you a discount. Yeah. And sometimes it's like a couple bucks. Sometimes it's like 20%, No,
I got a really phenomenal discount once.
Yeah, and it's a terrible thing because I often will jump right at those because I'm like, oh, I need that.
They saw you coming a mile away.
They did, yeah.
No, that's how I ended up with currently the most expensive quilt in my collection was from one of those.
Yeah, and I accidentally bought something on an auction the other day.
Accidentally? Yeah. Is that the lie that we're going with?
It is not a lie. Well, so there was an auction.
It is such a lie.
There was an auction, and it was not specifically a quilt auction, but I was looking at things, and I was like, oh, they have these really cool quilts, and so I was like, let me take a shot and see, because like nobody had bid on them. Nobody had done
so you accidentally hit the like bid enter button
on like 7 quilts.
Well, on 7?
I didn't. Well,
oh
see, here's the
what
thing.
What if you'd won all 7?
Well, I guess I would have had to borrow some money from someone. I would have been like, Jill, you want to buy 7 quilts off me? Like, stat. So this is my other one. I don't know if you can see it.
It's kitties playing?
Yeah, these are, I think they're from like the 60s. And it's Hummer, Hommer. They're little, like it's like a little sewing case or a little sewing kit.
It opens up like a tackle box.
Yeah, it is. It's like a little
or like case. Or what were those makeup things in the 90s?
Caboodles.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. I have seen where people have used them as like a little jewelry box. I think they were probably sold kind of ambiguously, and they probably a lot of them didn't survive because it's that
really breakable
like
plastic.
Yeah, I don't know if it's acrylic, plastic, whatever, but yeah, it's the kind of thing like if you drop it. So anyway, I have my eye on a couple of them. And they come in like a whole bunch of really cool colors. Like it's this kind of swirly. And this is
Marodim called it kitty caboodle.
Kitty caboodle. Yeah. I have a yarn holder that matches these that still has its tag on it. That's my that was my big purchase a while back. But yeah, I think I've kind of started collecting these because they're cute. And
because you needed one more thing to collect.
Yeah. But there are a whole bunch of different like styles of them, and they're not terribly expensive. I think like I've paid anywhere like $15 or $20 for them. So
your husband's not home, is he?
He is not.
Okay, because I was gonna say you're not wearing your headphones, and I was like, if he hears this conversation in the background of like, I collect these because it's one more thing, and I accidentally won this, we were gonna start to hear him like breaking hangs in the background.
Probably, yeah. Yeah. He tries to like just blind or zone it out. But yeah, so the auction, you know, it was several quilts, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. And I do this sometimes. I'll just throw like an affordable bid, a bid that I can afford, and I never win them because, you know, I'm bidding on stuff that, especially in these some of these Americana and folk art auctions, people like people like you are watching them, and they have more of a budget to get some of these quilts, but one never knows. So I just threw down some bids, and I wasn't meeting the reserve on any of them. This particular auctioneer has a reserve, and so, but apparently on this one particular quilt, there must not have been a reserve, or it was a really low reserve, because I wake up the next morning and I open my email. I'm like, what? What the hell? It's a cool quilt. It's a kit quilt. So
I really like it.
yeah, and you know what's really interesting is I quickly researched it because I was like, I know I've seen a million of these, and I found it quickly. It is a Paragon dogwood, but there are like two or three different dogwood designs. There's this medallion, which is the one I won in the auction, and there's another one that's like they're kind of like these. Not really.
It's almost like vines.
Yeah,
It looks like vines.
they almost look like vines, but it's dogwood. So, yeah, I was interested in that. So,
Yeah, so it's to be determined whether or not Dogwood goes to live with Stephanie or if it ends up living with me because I have something she wants more than the Dogwood.
yeah, I threw that out there too. Like, yeah, you know, I mean, I could do a little, splitsy swapsies, like.
Well, that and you and I will be in about a month in Pennsylvania together. So, you know, that's always the ripe time for diner trunk
Parking
quilt
lot,
deals.
yes.
Yeah. We're gonna get a reputation in the area like those girls are here again.
Indeed.
Increase police presence.
All right, so I am going to. All right, so that you don't have to watch Twitch, let me share my screen real quick.
I mean, I am watching Twitch on my phone.
Yeah, but just so
yes, Marodim, there's so much room now because things went to storage.
Yeah, things went to storage, and I made a promise that I wasn't gonna like fill the empty spaces back up, and I'm not.
You guys heard it here first.
Well, it takes longer to fill empty spaces up when you're buying small items. All right. So I thought I would go first, and I am going to play this video. Was there anything that you wanted to?
So yours is all video all the way through, right?
Yes, mine is all video.
Okay.
I did not insert any, you know, and this is video I took. I mean, we can pause and look at stuff as needed. It's about 25 minutes, I think. I had to slice a couple things out because there was the general public was in there, and a couple times they're like walking towards me, and I was trying not to get people's faces. So,
the only thing I was gonna say is just I have a few stills from the exhibit that I was planning to post to the Quilt Nerding Facebook and Instagram, which of course Stephanie can share to her Cake TV stuff if people are interested. I don't have stuff of the whole exhibit, but I have stuff of a few things if people are wanting to poke around, add some stuff.
yeah, and you might have some close-ups I didn't get very well. So, all right, so this is the what was it 19th
century New York
quilts that was at the AQSG seminar last week before last. Time has no meaning anymore. This is two different collections, Sharon Waddell's collection and Deb Grana's collection, and they own some amazing quilts. So without further ado, and there's no sound behind this, so we can talk over it as needed.
Oh, okay, cool.
All right. So this was the first one that you kind of saw as you walked in, like if you walked around sort of to the right, like, you know.
This is the one I showed a close-up on our stream of on Tuesday, Friday. Friday.
But this was a really neat quilt. You know, it's got the patriotic, the eagle, and of course Jill sent me a screenshot of that, or a picture of that, even before I'd gone over to the exhibit.
Mm-hmm.
The elephant is there because the person who made this quilt, the area, they, I guess, summered elephants there. So I thought that
Summered elephants?
Yeah, the person lived near a where elephants were kept. The circus kept elephants.
1845 on this one. I only got to go through about half of the exhibit before I forget where I had to go, and I had to run and do something, which bummed me out because, you know, the exhibit was really cool, and I really didn't have enough time to spend in there. And that is always my biggest complaint about museums, is not having the space or the time to just like hang out and like absorb things.
Mm-hmm.
And this actually had the space. It had chairs. It had, you know, I could have laid on the floor if I wanted to. And like, why didn't I choose to do that?
Yeah, this was they did a great job setting this up, the planning for this. And I think the only bad thing was that this was in a separate part of the hotel. So it was a little bit hidden from the action, and I hope everybody that wanted to see it got to see it, but if they didn't, I will have this on my YouTube for anybody to watch. But there were some really unique things in here, and this was one of them to me. This is a friendship block or chimney sweep block, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then that white cross in the center is typically where they would ink names, and this one does have some inked names. They're very faint. I can't remember if I close up got in there, but what I thought was really cool is the setting triangles along the sides.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
That is really interesting and unique, and I really loved these because, you know, it's just something different and decorative. A lot of the choices in these quilts are very cool. It's like they made sort of traditional things and then they took it up a notch, I guess. So yeah, I did get in on some of the close up on some of the names.
I like that pink fabric.
Yeah.
Every time I think I've seen all the pinks of the period, I have not.
Oh no. The double pinks and the various, yeah. I thought that was so cool. And with that little half square triangle dog tooth edge.
I love that she's missing points. I saw how you strategically went around the woman that was looking at this quilt.
Yeah, actually, and I know who she is.
Oh, Aunt Carrie's friendship quilt. Look at the kitty.
Yeah, this one. Oops, I'll move my cursor. Yeah, this one's got all the things that one should love about an album quilt: a horse, a dog in a weird wreath,
a dog in a weird wreath.
But I love stuff like this because, you know, this was somebody doodled or paper cut all of these little designs.
No, I believe I have some close-ups of this.
So very cool. Oh, well, missed getting her. Don't look at her. Or him. These are AQSG members, I think. I thought I got everybody, but yeah.
To be fair, if they're literally walking right in front of you and I thought you went right at closing too.
I did, and I think I had said to them, "Don't worry, I'm not recording people's faces." Yes, hopefully if that gentleman who I don't know ever sees this, he will.
I think he wanted to be on camera. He literally was just like, "Hi."
So
Great
this
legs.
one is in a garden maze setting, which is somewhat unique. Yeah, the garden maze setting I think is it's interesting because it's like a second layer of difficulty that you put on top of piecing a quilt.
Oh, for a second I was gonna be like, is this all the same red? And then nope, never mind.
No. And that's the other thing that's so amazing. I mean, these quilts, well, these two particular ones, this was not a case of somebody making scrap quilts. Like, they purchased the fabric. Her name is Joyce. Poor Joyce. So
there's a lot of people in there.
Yeah, there was a significant number of people in there. You know, I mean, even at like closing, Dang it! I swear I cut her out. Maybe I'm playing the the version I didn't edit. This is the Pan American Exposition, which I don't know a whole lot about, but apparently happened right before McKinley was shot.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of interesting stuff. There's an upside down house block, and it appears twice. You can see it. I'm gonna zoom in on it. I think at least once. And you have all these like George Washington.
No, this has to be the edited version because we just did like a pan out there.
Oh, was there?
Transition.
Well, I did a really, really bang up job of editing the people.
You were drunk, apparently.
Oh well.
When I looked at it, I didn't notice an upside down house.
Here it is. House upside down. And I think there's 2 blocks. There's one here, and then I think there's one way down at the bottom. Like
totally didn't notice that.
Yep, there it is again.
How is that? Wait, I like, what's up with that? Like, how's the house upside down, but the lettering is right side up?
I have no idea what that's all about. So,
unless they didn't do like the labeling until after they pieced it into the quilt, but like, I don't know why you wouldn't do that.
But I mean, I don't know. There's some story behind that. We'll have to look it up. The vines, and the peacock. I mean, I love a peacock.
So what's interesting about the peacock is see the applique, the reverse applique in the peacock tail. Myself and Alicia Thompson, who's the director of Virginia Quilt Museum, her and I were really looking at that because it reminded me of a quilt that we're going to see that was in one of the vendor booths that isn't that kind of applique, but there's a lot of that. I don't know. Well, the one we were just looking at here is reverse applique. The one that I'm talking about is going to be a stuffed applique, but it's going to be very dramatic and also having to do with birds.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, this is all reverse applique on its tail. And look at the little peacock chicks.
I didn't even notice them because I was too busy looking at the tail.
You don't usually see that. Little chicks.
I really like that red piece in between, making up the sashing. That's very interesting.
Yeah, I'm sorry for some of this like spinning around. Hopefully this isn't making anybody nauseated.
Yep, a little bit.
Sorry. I try to go really slow and so that it's not like, ugh. 1846. Don't you love a quilt that has the date pieced right into it?
Yes, this quilt is very cool.
And I can't remember. This is some kind of something summit. I don't remember what it says. I don't know. I can't even read that. Something summit.
Word and Bird Nerd commented, in an exposition photo collection, they show an upside down house on the midway.
Ah, interesting. And hello, Word and Bird Nerd. Long time no see, friend. Something Osborne. Summit.
And we also have a Barb in the chat who said there's an upside down house. Oh, I can't see what that says behind this stupid little thing. There's an upside down house. Something, the exposition. I can't. My little heart thing is like blocking a word in the chat. Oh, I really like this one.
Yeah, this one is really
nice too. Thanks, Barb. Once you commented again, it moved your comment up. So yes, an upside down house at the exposition. I don't think I've ever seen a border like that.
Yeah, and this one's interesting because like that's a mariner's compass, these big circular pieces. But then like all of this beautiful vine stuff, and I think that's like some of these things you're seeing are very like indicative of a New York quilt from this time period, and we're gonna see a couple that have like, I guess, the punch list of of New York, stereotypical stuff. Okay, the trees. We'll see that in a little bit.
Whoa, that was fast.
Yeah, sorry. I was also trying to be fast because they were trying to repack the quilts and get them out of there. The quilting on this one, I don't know if I won't zoom back in, but the quilting echoed those cut paper shapes, and it reminded me of tiles, like, you know, the kind of tiles, like, what is that, Tuscan, which is very pretty. Oh, and this one had the names, well, microscopic names in there too. I think I moved too fast, sorry. I'll put this out on my YouTube. I will be sure to get the people out. God. This is why I shouldn't be doing video editing late at night.
Because you're too drunk.
Yeah, definitely.
I really like this green print.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's all the same green print, right?
Yeah, and I mean, again, a lot of these quilts, definitely, there is no scrap quilting going on. This is all stuff that, pretty clear, there's enough of the fabric that they bought the yardage for these quilts. So these trees, like, that's kind of a, you know, trees in the border is a New York thing. Like, it was a trend, I guess.
I like those. I'm assuming they're willows.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, sometimes I'm like, is that a palm tree? No, I think that's a willow. And this one, I think this is the one where Sharon's on the other side, and I was like, hey, Sharon, remember me in your will. Because this isn't, I mean, look at that stuffed applique. Oh, gorgeous.
Wow, look at all that tiny quilting.
Yeah, and that's probably, oh, I don't know. Was that like a 3/4 inch?
So even like the flower in the center is stuffed too, it kind of looks like.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry, I'm kind of moved fast, but yes, anywhere it's like like petals are all stuffed. So the buds, the actual big flowers, and then in the vines, the smaller flower, like those little things. Yeah. Man, they loved some vines, that's for sure. And this one is 4 big wreaths.
Oh my.
Yeah, with all of that insane quilting, you know.
Oh
And
my
you know,
God.
this kind of quilting also reminds you of a lot of the quilting in the Amish quilts that we looked at Pattern and Paradox.
Yeah.
You know, it's just that really dense, all the feathers, and just amazing. So there's another 4 black, and there's birds in this one, I think. Yeah, the birds. And lots of flowers.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't get that super deep into the exhibit before I had to go do something. Looks like orange slices.
Yeah, Jen, they have amazing collections. Yeah. Dr. Seuss trees, yeah. Tish. We'll see some more Dr. Seuss trees, like, right now. The Mexican-American War, that was another thing I kind of had forgotten about that had, you know, an impact sometimes on quilts during this time period. But yeah, more of these weird trees. And I would assume, again, these are weeping willows.
They kind of remind me of like hand trees, or like the way people like use their hands to make like a bird. It kind of looks like someone did that, like when they were like tracing it or something.
Yeah. So peonies. I always get this one confused with the Carolina lily. I think the Carolina lily only has like the four little pointies, whereas the peony has 6.
This looks very poinsettia-ish to me.
And I love that cable border around it, and then how on the ends it kind of just, that's really neat. They didn't close it. I thought that was pretty neat. And you know, if that was probably a solution, like, crap, I didn't plan this very well. We're just gonna do that. This was another really cool one. I mean, it's kind of the same, but the leaves are round, or the petals are rounded. I love the stuff in the border. Those are very interesting little flowers in the border. And those little pointy pieces, I guess that's whatever's in the middle of a flower. That, I don't know what you call those. Oh, and here's the little details of, I mean, look at that. That is like little itty bitty,
oh my goodness,
tiny microscopic cross stitch.
feel like I may have actually gotten a picture of that.
Yeah, it just so, and you know, some of you like you get in there and really tight, and you're just losing your mind over all these little details, and then you pull back from it, and you're like, it is stunning in a different way, you know.
Mm-hmm.
This one,
Oh yeah, this quilt was crazy looking.
yeah, I feel like Sharon. Yeah, so this is Sharon's. I think Sharon posted this not long ago. I think when Six Know-It-Alls, Show Us Your Quilts, when they did a New York Quilts, and it's probably been beginning of this year, maybe. That's kind of where I started to learn about New York quilts, and
Mm-hmm.
a number of the people that were involved in, in seminar this year in, the New York locals. A lot of them have a lot of quilts, and I think that Sharon had posted a number of these. But to see them in person, yowza! I mean, they're just amazing stuff. Acanthus with twisted ribbon.
Hi, Patty.
Hey,
Patty was texting me earlier.
Oh, the center of flowers also called carpels. Oh, stamens and pistils. Yes, I should have remembered that. I did take biology.
I love the like pineapple motif.
Yeah,
I
the
feel like
pineapples.
it's so underrated.
Well, there's a lot of pineapple is probably the most common fruit in a Baltimore album quilt. And it is so funny to see, like, I think you can probably tell when people have actually seen a pineapple in real life and when they're kind of just guessing, based on maybe what other people have drawn. Because I've seen some wild looking pineapples.
Lots and lots of flowers.
Yeah, there's a lot of flowers in this New York stuff.
Interesting. This one's only got on the one side, so were we probably a bed against a wall?
Maybe, yeah. Or for some, I don't know. This is first time noticing that. I didn't notice it before. Ah, geez, I'd got her face too. That was Vicky. This. Oh my gosh. This.
Now, when I looked at this, the plaque wasn't there. Was it there when you looked at it?
I don't think it was.
Yeah, what I wonder what was up with that.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think it was. I forgot to ask. But look
at that pineapple.
Yes. And the lettering, this just blew my mind. Yeah, and this is New York. I can't remember what the rest of it says. I think this is this a name, I think. And then I never really figured out what the two on the top are. I didn't slow it down enough to look. But
something Leon, it looked like.
Oh my gosh, this just
This was like made by the gods.
Yeah, I mean, aside from the fact, so there was a county name, so aside from the fact that, all that work, it's a white quilt, it's a whole cloth quilt. Phew. This one has these cool trees and the birds. And then that oak leaf and reel. This looks very paper cut to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like they folded paper to get, each of these motifs. But look at the little tiny oak leaves coming off the sides. I love that.
It's so funny. One of the gals that had come out of the exhibit at one point said to me, so I just came out of the exhibit. There's a lot of blue and white quilts in there. And I'm thinking, so far I've seen 2.
I think this is number 3. But yeah, there were 3 out of, I don't know how many quilts were in there.
Well, if you'd come out and said to me, there's a lot of flowers in there, then I would have been like, oh, okay, but.
Yeah. And this one, I was trying to figure out, were these reverse applique or were they appliqued? I'm not sure I came to a decision on that. But I mean, again, this is paper cut.
It didn't say on the plaque if it was.
I don't think so. It does say that this is paper cut quilt, but I mean, this is another one. I bow down to these makers. Um, yeah, this is one of those ones where it's hard because if you do that like itty bitty little like very narrow outline, it's sometimes hard to tell which side was turned under.
Lots of crosshatch quilting.
Yeah.
Oh, I like this a lot.
Well, and I feel like crosshatch quilting, if you're not going to do that like stippling, that really dense,
Mhm.
this makes the most sense for things like this. It's, because it's really hard to get any motifs in between
I
sometimes.
would think like sometimes with the paper cut, I would think like echo quilting would be, but that crosshatch really just, I don't know, it makes things like it almost looks like the applique is like floating
Hmm.
on top of the quilting. This is
Yeah.
very interesting. I did not look at this.
I love this one. And it's like, it almost is the same green as that other one, but the content of this quilt is to me more interesting than that other one. And this one is because, I mean, look at these little doodly things. Like, is that like a heart padlock? Like, I don't know what
This
that
is this I feel like this is Mary Witherwax's like
Yes,
sister.
exactly. That's what I was going to say. Like, as I step back from this, I was like, oh, this is little doodles and paper cuts and things. There's flowers and birds, and I really like this one. Little church. Very cool. See that weird bird?
Hmm. Yeah,
Another weird bird.
there's some serious crazy stuff going on in there. Can you imagine doing this as a 100-day project?
Yeah, I mean, some of those, like that swirly, those paper cuts, those are, yeah. I like that flower that's up there.
And even like
The deer, I mean, or a moose. I don't know what that. I guess it's a deer, but
it looks like a stag, yeah.
yeah. Okay, I moved on. I think at this point I could hear Sharon like taking down quilts behind me. Drew, where was it made? These are all made in New York. Um, some of them they had the counties and some they didn't. And I think it really depended on probably where they bought them. If they had provenance. This was a very nice one.
Hmm. Yeah, and we'll see more of that crosshatch where it looks like I feel like the crosshatch is like a theme with the paper cut, and then like that the paper cut piece is kind of like looks like it's floating
Mm-hmm.
on top. I love the birds.
Yes, the birds are great. So okay, so this is a fourth blue and white one, but they're still very cool. Oh, whoops, got Sandra. I knew I left her in. I didn't. I did slice her out, but um, now this one's got some echo quilting, and this one looks like it could have been potholder style. I could be wrong, but it's got that look about it. There goes
Yeah,
Sharon.
because they did that like line in between the block
Yeah, you can
quilting.
see it's a
It's like,
little bit of a harder line.
yeah.
The diagonals. That always seems like it might be to me, but
I'm wondering, like from here, I'm wondering, did they just do like a straight line of like two straight lines of quilting to
could
make
be.
it look hard like that?
Yeah, it could be. But yeah, it could be.
Was that Sharon that was just standing right next to you? Like, come
Possibly.
on now.
Possibly.
Ooh, I love how they dated this one.
Yeah, this was yeah, like I said, you want piece the date right in there. This one, I think
That
my guess
border's
is
really
that
cool.
that top vine maybe was
Hmm.
some dye loss because
Oh, yeah.
the yellow,
Fugitive green.
yeah, the yellow came out because it's blue.
Mhm.
Okay, so there's another. All right, so there are like 5 blue and white quilts.
But still, that's not the whole of the thing.
Mm-hmm. Now that one, the one that I lingered here because of the top, but this one, the trees are really interesting. Happy Hands trees, yes. I've seen multiple ones like this.
Oh, I believe Sharon's doing research on Happy Hands. And I believe somebody who will currently, I guess, remain nameless, recently gifted Sharon a Happy Hands at seminar
Oh, I
for
missed that.
her, for her research. You weren't in the room, so you don't get to know. I like this one where it's this mixture of just simple block treatment with that really stylized border and then the quilting.
Mm-hmm.
A marrying of two complete different genres.
Yeah, it's a, is this, oh, I guess I didn't get the, okay, so here's another blue. There were more blue and white ones than I remembered, but this one is another really simple, but it's like that robbing Peter to pay Paul, flip flop of the colors.
Nothing rounded is simple to me.
Well, it is a complex design, I guess, to piece, but it's just the same thing over and over again with the colors flip flopped.
And all the same print.
Mm-hmm. It's another one. Look at those big trees.
With a little baby tree next to it with a heart. Oh my God, I love that. It's cute. That one from here almost looks like it's not quilted.
Okay, this is, besides the first one, this is the last one, and this is my other favorite. It's called the Excelsior Quilt. Look at the fish. How bizarre, right? You have these beautiful wreaths, and then you've got strawberries, and I think there's fruit and birds, and then fish.
Interesting.
Yeah, okay, there are some birds. I was like, maybe this one doesn't have birds, but yeah,
maybe their husband was a fisherman.
Maybe, I don't know. This one is just so cool, and it's stuffed. Some of the applique is stuffed. Those fish, though, I just couldn't get over that, and the strawberries are just so perfect. I love it so much.
They look stuffed. Cool. Are they stuffed?
Yeah, some of them are stuffed. Yeah.
Berries. Wow, the detail on the buds in the.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's like a little bit of a little bit of embroidery around the buds and the little vines and stuff. So I think I backed up and kind of got like a big view of this whole wall, and then I could hear they're on the other side of me, like unhooking quilts. So I was like, all right, I'll get out of y'all's way. But yeah, I think I had to get like one more little look at this one. So cool.
That bluish bird really stood out against all the red and green.
Right? Yeah. Something else. So I'll go back to us.
Okay. Well, I'm a little green.
Sorry.
I'll probably recover a little better than I did on the bus. Okay. So
I'll post it on my YouTube. I'll slow it down.
Okay. So. Now we can go on to vendors. I have to figure out here what I'm doing with my life. Hold on a second.
I'm very, very excited to see, because the vendors, like, you didn't get to see all of the exhibit as much as I did. I only saw bits and pieces of the vendors as I just kind of quickly walked through. So
okay, so I have I also have some video. I am talking in the video, but there's a lot of sound around me, and what I'm saying is not really important. In the video, I might say something like whose booth we're in. That's actually more for me than it was for you guys, just to remind me whose booth it was. So if for some reason you can't hear the audio real great, don't worry about it. I'm just adding commentary. It's really not important. You can still see stuff. But I do have to remember to say share my audio. And okay. Can we see that?
Yep.
Okay. Oh my God, look at that. And then I guess Steph, because I can't see what it looks like. Oh, I see what you've done with, okay, never mind. I was gonna say you're gonna have to move us around, but I see what you've done there. Okie dokie. So we're gonna start here with Jane Lurie, whose Labors of Love. Isn't that just real cute? Like, oh my God. Okay, let me just make sure I've got my volume all the way up here. Okay.
We're here now at Jane Lurie's booth. Look at how incredible this quilt is. This is very large.
You hear all the joy and cackling.
Striking. Imagine all the planning that would have to go into something like that. Here's her tag. Her contact info, of course, will be in the description.
So I had just seen Jane at the Sturbridge show, which was the Monday before we went to seminar, and she had this quilt hanging in her booth there too. I've seen it a few times now. It's so awesome that it always just like immediately pulls me from anywhere that I am that I was really like, oh my God. But you can see I did not say anything really super important, so don't worry if the sound does it sound okay to you?
Yeah, I mean, I could hear you.
Yeah, the other time too is like a lot of times so you're gonna hear background chatter, so it was like I had to film what I could film when I could film it, so. And then this was one of the quilts that I showed on Friday as kind of a little teaser, but we have the ability now to zoom, so I've got some up close right here. But hello, zooming. Aha. So yeah, the fact now that we can zoom and really kind of look like all this paper cut goodness here. I mean, we're pieced where, oh, and there's a signature there. Oh, hello. Okay. I like the zoom, but I don't like how you have to zoom. That's annoying. Yeah, I can't read that.
Oh, what am I doing?
What are you doing, Stephanie?
Crud. I just realized I inceptioned us. I'm sorry.
Why are you touching things?
I don't know what I was thinking. I was like, oh, I'm going to move this to this other screen so I can see better. Oh, that took it away from everybody.
Yeah, don't move things.
I'm sorry, y'all.
Just sit there and be pretty.
I got excited for a minute.
Yeah, here's her price tag, $18.50, $3,400. And I'm pretty sure, let me see, does this one have, oh no, I zoomed in on the photo. I feel like this one could have a cutout. I just cut that part of the photo out. But it's amazing. Oh, no, I'm still, there we go. And then she also had this one. Also, these little tags down here, they're just, again, they were just for me to remind me who's what and who would do. This one gives me like full on whole cloth quilt vibes, but I'm pretty sure it's pieced.
Yeah, it looks like they probably cut that. That's been cut out of, or I don't know.
Maybe not.
No, maybe not. Yeah, it's definitely got the flying geese.
No. I think we got a seam right here.
Okay.
To see right here where we're cut off. And then right here.
I see. Yeah, but that repeat, that's the repeat in the fabric,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because yeah, we've got two of these right here making out. You're gonna have to watch the YouTube chat stuff because I can't see anything.
Yeah. Sorry.
But don't touch anything. Yeah, I love this, like, I didn't read kind of like what the story is here about this fabric. I don't know if anyone watching knows what it is. But I love it. It's a
pretty neat fabric. I like it.
Yeah, and it looks chintz like to me. Yes. I also like this just random piece border. It's like, hey, this looks great. But I don't know, maybe people will think we didn't put enough work into it. So like, let's add a piece border. That's just my commentary. Not okay.
Still in Jane Lurie's booth. She's got a really packed booth this time around at AQSG. She also vends at the Sturbridge show in Massachusetts. That's where I usually meet up with her. So if there's anything you see and you wanted to meet up with her there, you could. She's based out of New York City.
That quilt that looks like fish scales that are really embroidered, that one, I kept catching that out of the corner of my eye.
I believe that's wool. Isn't that one of those like penny? Where's Barb?
Yeah, that's
It's like
what I was kind of. Yeah, I see. Barb was watching on YouTube. Yeah, I never got a chance to like get up close and examine it, but that's, I guess, kind of must be what it is. It's.
Let me see if I can. Where do my thing go here? Ah, there's too many bars. Hold on.
Still in Jane Lurie's booth. She's got a really packed booth this time around at AQSG.
Won't let me like.
She also vends at the Sturbridge show in Massachusetts. That's where I usually meet up with her.
Boom. There you go. Yeah, that detail work on it is pretty crazy. But I feel like it's wool.
Yeah, it looks like wool to me. I just like wanted to touch it and feel it and be like, are those things flappy or are they just the way they're stitched? Like what?
I think they pull up, if I'm remembering
little
correctly.
Flappies, huh?
Did Barb comment? I feel like she would.
I don't know, Barb maybe got us on in the background.
Okay, let me see. Is it gonna let me just, there we go. Okay, so moving on to Hudson River Quilts, who's Lisa Bouchard-Ho, who is on the board of AQSG. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure this was her first time vending at an AQSG seminar.
We got Hudson River Quilts here. This is done by Lisa Bouchard-Ho, who is on the board of AQSG. I believe this is her very first time vending with them. She had these really great racks that we kept talking about. I'll get all her info down in the description.
I like her hanging system. That's kind of the way that I have some of my quilts.
I drove to give a program representing the.
Now she had kind of a swath of newer quilts too, like some early 20th century stuff, right?
She did. Price wise, I would probably categorize her to be like kind of mid range. One thing too that her and I were talking about that she didn't really mention a whole lot was that she had a 20% off sale in her booth for AQSG members. This one was really cool. I liked that a lot with the black. I do have another. There's something about this kind of display. The one thing I don't like about it is, it's not hung. So you can't see everything really great. I don't necessarily like that, but you don't necessarily feel like you're going to ruin someone's booth by rifling through piles. So there's some major pros and cons there. But when they're in piles, sometimes certain motifs are easier to see and recognize.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from with that. I think if I had my choice, I would prefer this over the piles because it is easier, and also, I mean, you do end up kind of getting like more of the quilt depending on how it's folded than, if you just had like a stack of them.
I think the best,
I'm partial to this.
I think the best in between for the stacks and for this is, we'll see it later on, is the way Xenia had them in her booth, which was on those rings where she had a front piece of the quilt showing. But no, total made pros and cons to each side.
Yeah,
absolutely. Sure. I liked that the way she did this was completely different. No one else in the mall was doing this.
More from Lisa here.
I decided, I was like, I should look at some of the things in here. It just wasn't as easy to capture on my phone.
It's your room and she happens to also be in it, right? I mean, I'm not suggesting anything illegal.
I love that one.
Oh, that one's neat.
So just everybody remember, if there's something here that's really interesting, I don't know if it has sold between when I took these and now, but you will have contact info on our Quilt Nerding YouTube in the description to contact people, and everyone has given me permission to give you info and to show these videos. So now we move on to Julie Silber, and I know you were really wanting to talk about this quilt.
I love this quilt.
I got some interesting close-ups. And so just before we go, like, remember we were talking about that peacock.
Mm-hmm.
This is the quilt that was running of the peacock.
Mm-hmm.
Now in Julie's booth, I didn't get any video. It's all photo because she had too many people in her booth at the time. And I was trying really hard to get no people and very minimal conversation, but you know, there's only so much you can do here. This quilt was so cool as an interesting piece of folk art.
Mm-hmm.
Because like look at this rooster.
Yes, and I think, and I asked her to confirm, and she said it was funny when she was like, I think so. I think she had that quilt in Temecula when I was at the retreat in Temecula.
Wait, she was there?
Yeah.
Oh no, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, Julie was there.
Yeah.
But I think she had this quilt with her, and because I think she had acquired it not long before. So I think she acquired it this year, if I'm not mistaken.
There's a lot of birdness going on here.
Yes.
So we got this one, and we got this one.
Yeah, it's got a lot of really interesting little embroideries on it.
Yeah, it is. It was very, very striking. And then just let's throw in a butterfly.
And a banjo.
Very, very interesting. And then this quilt I've seen a lot on her website. And I think it's just like awesome. Just hanging up in the corner.
Mm-hmm. That's a really striking quilt too. That color combination just
yeah, to like throw in that like cheddary color right in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then at first, I can't tell if this block right here is printed that way or if it's some black loss. Is that white we're seeing? I'm not sure. And I don't know.
Hard to tell.
Yeah, even trying to get close. It's hard to tell.
That looks like it's maybe printed that way. I can't tell. They look like little flowers.
Yeah, I mean, maybe because the same white is showing like up here, the same. I don't know. Having some fabric in my collection quilts that have like black loss, it's very what's the word I want? It almost looks very planned the way you lose the black. So I was just curious about
Robin
that
and
one.
Druid said looks like a print.
Okay.
Not loss.
Okay. I'll go with you guys. Oh,
they got the eagle eyes. So
here's your baby. I'm sorry, but there was a bag in the way.
Oh yeah. I don't know what it is about this quilt. It's like that the strange it's not strange, but it's the unique angle of the fence there, and it's just so interesting. Whoever made this quilt was. So,
do you remember I told you that me and Jill Mazzaros were having a very in-depth conversation? So one of the things that really bugged her about this quilt was like the scale and proportion, because she's like, this tree coming out behind this house is very not proportionate, and then this bird is just like perched on like the end leaf of this tree.
But see, that's what I love about it. It's so bizarre like that.
And then she also was feeling some type of way about like how the birds were stuffed, because man, are the birds stuffed. I do have a close-up of all that stuff.
Those red pieces in the middle of the flowers, I mean, they're like very ripe.
Well, and that's what was reminding me of the peacock. But these are stuffed, where the other one was reverse applique. And it's so funny because like the quilting, I didn't touch this quilt enough, but it feels like it's more summer spread type because there's not a lot of poof in the quilting. I feel like it's kind of thin, which is also like, how on earth do you manage to have something on the thinner side with like all this stuffed applique? Because this like baby got back. Like this is some
Well, they used up
applicator.
all their cotton, the stuffing, and they're like, oh no, I got to do a really thin batting.
I was gonna say make sure you're watching the chats.
I
Okay. It's so annoying the way that they do that. Thank you. Okay, yeah. So I got some really good like
am.
like
The
look at this.
the depth of the stuffing.
Yeah, because I don't know that I've ever seen stuffed work this stuffy. It is the stuffawuffagus, especially in the birds, like even down into the feet. It's nuts, but very pretty.
I agree.
Looks like you can see some of this green starting to turn a little bit right here. And then two more. You know, it's funny. Here I was thinking you were gonna have to move us around the screen like the other day, so I kept like leaving these spaces for you. Although I couldn't have made these photos any bigger, they were looking kind of weird. But here we are.
One of these quilts is in a book. She had the book, and I have the book.
Oh,
But now I can't remember which quilt it was.
this one's. I really just like the simplicity of this one, and more of that garden maze.
Mm-hmm.
They, you know, words. Oh, is it this book right here that she has opened?
Yes. I think
But I
so.
don't.
And
It's
a bunch of
definitely
cell phones.
a bunch of cell phones.
Look over there on the right hand side. There's.
Oh, there's a cell phone, a calculator.
Oh, is that a calculator?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't tell. That book
This
is
one.
open to a quilt that's. I don't think.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't one that was there. I really like this one.
I like that pop of like
Blue.
blue in the middle there. Is that the center? Oh no, there's another block that got that blue.
Yeah, I didn't see this one open all the way.
This one's interesting. How those like the alternate blocks are just like a piece of the chintz, and it doesn't look like they especially fussy cut. They just cut it up into blocks.
Yep. They were just like, this looks good.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it does. It's interesting looking. I don't know that I've ever seen that. Druid. What? You hate earth tones with blue cake? Yes, I do. But I do like that blue. But yes, you know me too well.
All right, moving on to Kathy Liston, who, like Julie, is also from California.
Yeah, and I didn't make it to Kathy's booth at all. So,
well, you're fired.
Yeah, I feel bad because she was there in the corner and
she sold one of her kind of like showstopper quilts that I didn't, because it was already sold. I didn't take any video or anything of it. I think we start here with a video.
Now we've got Kathy Liston's booth.
I really like this one.
oh yeah, that pineapple. Oh,
She's got some very graphic things in here. Some things have already sold that you won't be getting on camera. But anything you see here that you like, her info will be in the bottom.
I like that blue and yellow.
You can email her and tell her what you saw.
And look at this doll bed.
I did see the doll bed in passing, and I kept saying, "Oh, I need to get over there and look at that adorable little doll bed," and I didn't. I love that pine tree quilt, the tree quilts always have a million different names. Julia had one as well that was different colors.
Yeah, you will see that. Just in case you were missing it.
More from Kathy Liston's booth at AQSG. These stars are incredible. The light really doesn't do it justice. And then this compass here is incredible.
Look at that.
She's also got some great little sewing tools and doodads here, if that's your jam.
This is some neat stuff. I love all the little doodads and sewing tools.
Yeah, I mean, you can give her a little ringy ding do. And I got some close-ups of doodads and things. She had even more, but remember by the time I got to them, it was Friday night, I think. And she'd already sold a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved this piece right here. And then let's see this. I didn't open this. It's 1872.
And then there's like, is it a boot? What is this? That gray and black one? Is it like a?
Yeah, it's like a boot.
It's like a boot.
Because you know we need weird limb things.
Indeed, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jen says the doll bed was so sweet. It really was.
Yep.
I feel like I want to make some doll quilts, but I don't have a doll bed. I do have a cradle. I have a
girlfriend better get with the program.
I have a cradle.
Yeah, I thought this was really pretty. I saw lots of these.
The
anyone that had, well, Nancy Hahn had a ton of them in her booth too. And then this looks like a little needle book back here. Yep.
And the best made needles that we know, I have that. I think I can't remember if you did too, but the little kittens.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a pretty popular
got those
one.
ones too. And then these, oh my god, these doll dresses were so cute.
Oh.
Our friend that collects, like, this is a doll apron here. Our friend that collects doll dresses, I sent a picture to be like, you saw these, right? And she was like, yeah, I really wasn't into them. This blue one.
Yeah, the blue one is really, really cute. So that was a doll apron?
Yeah, this one right here is an apron.
Jen, did you not want to start having doll aprons in your life? I did not realize that was a doll apron.
Pretty darn sure that one was an apron. I love, and even just like this little red shirt with the lace on it. Like, if I was going, Jen totally missed it. Yeah. Well, you can, like, you know, give Kathy a little email.
Kathy, please. I need the doll apron.
Stop. Yeah, and just, hey, anybody, if you message any of the vendors and ask them about stuff, please do tell them that you heard about it from this stream. They were all very open-minded into trying this out, but if that goes really well, it's just like a great excuse to do more kinds of stuff like this, especially next year.
Yeah, we are terrible enablers. You were absolutely right. If I can't have it, somebody I know must.
Yeah. Oh my god, you should see Steph and I in our text messaging. It's bad. It's bad. But you know what? I love you and I support your habits. I want you to be happy. Like, you know? So, moving on to Stella Rubin in Maryland. She had this amazing quote.
Here's a quote. Thank you for being a friend.
What did you do?
Travel down the road and back again.
Oh, what just popped up there?
I don't know. I had Golden Girls. I've been watching Golden Girls the other night.
Somebody just redeemed some golden something?
Oh, no. Yes, that was absolutely... Yes, somebody played the blurb. I just realized that. I freaked out because I had Golden Girls up for a minute.
Are you okay?
I freaked out. Seriously. Okay, I had been watching Golden Girls on my computer on, I don't even know what channel it was. And I left it up, and that's what I thought was playing. But no, somebody played a blurb.
All right.
So thank you for that blurb and for reminding me. Oh, it was Sydney.
I was gonna say, you're not supposed to build stuff into your Twitch that scares you midstream.
Nobody's played it in a long time. Thank you for testing that, Sydney. I know it works.
Yeah, and you're not supposed to like freak out and laugh so hard that like you pee yourself midstream either.
I'm okay. I'm all good.
Okay. You good?
Yes.
Good? Okay, bring it back. Okay.
That is exactly what it's for. You're absolutely right. Okay, so back to this quilt.
Okay.
I love this quilt.
Those more
like a pineapple.
Quilts.
I may or may not have said multiple times to Stella, I love this quilt, Stella.
Look at
I work really hard helping you put your lights up. Don't you want to just give me this quilt?
Snowflake with the folded paper, lots of birds. I'll get some other really great shots.
Yeah, I've got close-ups. One thing I love about this like applique folk art is the stitching. Like they didn't try to hide their stitching. It's part of the piece, and that is very, very interesting. So yeah, I didn't even notice when I first took it. Look at this pineapple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh
This
my God.
just reminds me of like contemporary illustration. Trying to think like not really Rifle Paper Company, their stuff's a little bit different, but I feel like there are a number of illustrators I knew that kind of do this sort of stuff where, there's sort of big flowers, but then these like very fine inked lines and stuff. And that's what this reminds me of.
Well, I was talking in my video about like a piece like this that's just seems like that, just very simplistic, like almost like maybe they were like, here, my 3-year-old, make me a little like paper cut thing. And they just did whatever. And let's see, this one looks, I guess it could be the same, but it almost in this fabric looks like it's bigger. But then like you've got the same thing happening over here. And then we've got all these like birds and leaves and this like just random big vase thing. I really like this piece.
Yeah, this one is so, I mean, this is like the epitome of folk art. And
yeah, there's so much going on here.
Yeah, I really responded to this one, and when because I was helping in her booth to hang this one when she was setting up, and she pulled it out, and I was like, oh. And every time I would be like, is the quilt still there? Stella, please don't sell the quilt. I love this quilt.
Mm-hmm.
And I never even asked her how much she.
I think I have. I think. Let me see. I think I have it.
I think I don't want to know because it'll crush my spirit to know I will never.
Yeah, it's right. Actually, it's right here. Hold on.
Because yeah, most of Stella's quilts are really out of my budget.
$68.50.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I actually kind of expected it to be more, to be honest with you.
Actually, yeah, I did too.
She's got it dated to 1860.
Okay, yeah, I did know because I did ask her what the date range was, and I remember 1860. But yeah, unfortunately, that's a bit out of.
Oh, there you go. I did a close up of it. Yeah, original pattern. And then I caught like this interesting right underneath the big vase. I like this piece right there. But yeah, look at the stitching.
Yeah, I love that little oh gosh, what is that? I can't remember the embroidery name. Is it Flyfoot or no? Flyfoot is the one that.
I'm not the one. This almost looks like chicken scratch to me.
Yeah, I can't remember what this one is called. It's a very, I mean, it's a super common stitch. I mean, they use it in crazy quilts a lot.
Well, and that's part of the reason I think I like this so much is like it's so folk art applique, and then some of the some of the stitching is crazy quilt-esque.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get big into the crazy quilt period.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
She had this piece too, which was really cool. And I think, well, now that I'm looking at it, I think it's just a top. Is it finished on the edge? Let's see.
It might be a coverlet. I do remember this one.
Oh, and it's
zigzag crosshatch. No. That definitely describes that stitch, but I can't remember what it's called.
Oh no, it might be a coverlet. That edge looks finished.
Yeah, I think I remember this one. I didn't touch it, but I remember we were kind of moving some stuff around. I think I saw this one.
I like what they did with these leaves.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
then
it's got some stuffiness going on too.
Yeah, well, like what is this? Looks like cigars or something.
They're cannons.
Ah.
But yeah, they are little like. What is that?
Well, I'm like, what a perfect, like, I like the star appeal. Like, what a missed opportunity to put an eagle there. I didn't notice this blue and kind of lavender here. That's pretty. They look like fingers. Yeah, they look like fingers that someone like sliced off the edge with a rotary cutter.
Yes, word, herringbone. That is exactly what I was thinking of. Mod Art Quilt says, I'm glad to see the prices are where they are, $68.50 and not $68.50. Yeah, you know, and I think I absolutely agree with you, Mod Art. I do think that the antique dealers, like the antique quilt dealers, like they know the worth of these quilts, and you very rarely will see prices that are not commensurate with the value of an antique quilt.
Yeah, Monarch
Yeah.
Quilt, these are the top vendors in the country. So they're selling at a very
Yeah, premium.
high tier, like to museums, and these are museum quality pieces and
Yeah.
things like that, like nowhere near the level that I'm selling. They're way up here, and I'm down at the little baby bottom because
Well,
most people don't start out buying and selling $10,000 quilts.
Yeah, you're a newer dealer, yeah, and
Yeah.
I would say like Lisa Bouchard Ho, she's a newer dealer. Out of all of these folks, Xenia Cord, Julie Silber, Jane Lurie, Stella Rubin, they're kind of like they're the names that have been around for quite some time. And then I would say like the Kovals and Nancy Hahn, like they also have, but I don't think they have like that, you know, sold a quilt to Ken Burns kind of recognition as those first four ladies I mentioned. Yeah, so
She had this little case of goodies, and like, look at this chicken.
I know, I love. And so this is Nancy Hahn, right?
No, this is still Stella.
Oh, is this still Stella? You know
We're
what? I
still in
never saw
Stella.
the stuff she had in the case. I knew
Yeah.
she had the case, and I was like terrified because I'm up on a ladder, like really close to it, and I was like, please don't let me fall off this ladder.
Well,
And
look, here's a
if I
couple
fall off
pot
this ladder,
holders.
please don't let me fall into the case.
She's got this dated pot holder
There
right here.
is a pot holder there.
There's two.
Oh,
Got this one
yes.
too. And then this, I'm not sure what this is, but whatever it is, it's dated 1831.
Yeah, it looks
And
like
then
a
here's
towel or
another
something.
chicken.
Yeah, Stella, I remember last year she had some cool little objects, and I want to say there were some very tiny little hot pads, if I remember correctly from last year. I don't think I saw any of them in Anne's collection, but I could be wrong.
So Word and Bird Nerd asked if there was a lot
Yep.
more people because it was open to the public. It was only open to the public for 3 hours on Saturday. We did get some people show up, not like, oh my God, a ton, but enough to probably make it worthwhile to keep trying to do that. We were in a really weird area, like multiple converging highways. It was difficult, like traffic wise. So I think hopefully the plan is to definitely try it again in Maine in 2025. But I don't know yet. I haven't polled the vendors yet if they actually sold anything to the public or if they paid attention if they did, because the public was wearing, they were wearing wristbands. But people definitely showed up, and from what I hear, the public enjoyed, and we did get at least one new membership out of the public showing up. So there's that.
Yeah, it was a good experiment. I think it was a worthwhile experiment to see what happened. So, and Barb Garrett confirmed it is herringbone stitch I was trying to think of. So yeah,
I loved this baby quilt that Stella had too. All these blues. Oh my gosh.
Oh, and the reds too. You know, yeah.
And then this one too was really pretty. The quilting on this was like just so small and simple that it really made it stand out, from like across the room. Oh, it's so tiny.
Yeah, that's like 1/2 inch or so crosshatch, right? Maybe even closer than that.
It's so tiny. I don't even think it's crosshatch. I think it's just a straight line.
Is it?
Yeah, it's just a straight line. It's just the way that the fabric's pulling.
Yeah.
Well,
yes, when you get that close, when you get the lines that close, you do get like that little bit of puckering. Yeah, it could be stippling, it could be crosshatch.
She also had this baby quilt this blue, you can't even really tell. This must be like a ribbon in here. You really can't tell from the light, but it was just like glowing out of the corner of my eye, and And these
That is a beautiful bright blue. And so are you saying that the whole blue thing is a ribbon or?
this looks like it's all like this is a ribbon. Yeah.
Okay. So do you
Yeah.
think it could be like it's just like a silk ribbon? So I'm wondering if maybe that's why it was like so vibrant.
Yeah, maybe. I didn't touch it. Um, but yeah, there was just this, it was just like out of the corner of my eye, you see like and I like look over and it's just
Ah,
like this ribbon is just like glowing.
yeah, that is really pretty. I like that color.
Yeah. And this piecing is tiny, teeny tiny. I think that might be it for Stella. Nope, I had one more. One thing I wanted to get was this was like a coverlet or just a top, I'm not sure, but it had really cool paper cut stuff on it.
Different motifs.
The only thing
Yeah.
is she had it sitting in a ring, so I needed someone to help me like
Oh,
open
to
it.
like hold it.
Yeah, and I just didn't get back over there because she had, of course, like the minute I'm like in her booth, I walk in because like finally there's no one in there, and then I walk in and I start taking pictures, and then 17 people walk in. So, um, I I had to bounce, but I got this like very graphic background piece she had here with all of her, stuff folded on a table and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's like another whole quilt show.
Indeed. Yes.
If you didn't see enough quilts in the other quilt show, you just come in here and you see a whole nother quilt show. There probably had to be at least 500 quilts in this room.
Yeah, I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed a comment. Quilt and color. Such a beautiful quilt. I'm not sure which one when you commented. I'm sorry I missed that. But yes. Whichever quilt it was, yes.
So now we've got PK Trouvé, Julia Kelly Houdinus in Massachusetts, and here is your favorite quilt.
Yeah, I love this one. The
I
tree.
picked this one out for her to bring. She was like, "Hey, come over here. Look at these quilts. Pick stuff for me to bring." And I was like,
Oh, you did a nice
really?
job. Yeah, you did
Yeah.
a nice job. She had some really nice stuff. Beautiful.
So here we're in PK Trouvé's booth, which is Julia Kelly Houdinus. She's really got some great stuff.
And I'm thinking, no, this is that's the same quilt. I hung that white quilt, that whole cloth quilt. I was trying to remember, but yeah, that I hung that. I helped hang that one.
"Oh, I didn't see. I don't particularly remember because she doesn't live far away from me, and I helped pack her up for the show. I vaguely remember this quilt, but I
So-
must have seen it.
I think this quilt. I think the quilt we originally hung beside that valance and curtains. I think it was a different quilt. So I'm wondering if she sold the original one we hung because I
Oh.
could be wrong. There comes a point where you're starting to get delirious. But
That's
those
true.
curtains, what I can say about the curtains it's the toile that's on the there on the right hand side, and then there's a valance. I can't remember what house she said these came out of, but they did come out of some type of historic home where they sold these off. I think this toile is like 17. I can't remember. It's late 1700s, and I was like, "Are you sure you want me to touch this? This is like a zillion years old. This is like, I don't know, like 300 years old."
It's okay. I touched them multiple times. Oh, that was the very end of that video.
Well, and the amazing thing was how sturdy they felt. It
oh
did
yeah,
not
they
feel-
felt like they were printed today.
Yeah, it did not feel like fragile. I mean, they were discolored. I think she said maybe when she got them, like they were, there was some cigarette smoke. Like
She had to wash a couple of them.
yeah, but yeah, and what she said to David, her stepson was helping. She's like, "Oh yeah, those will be good for another 200 years." And I was like, "Oh my god." So anyway, go ahead.
This one she had.
Yes, that
This was the champ.
I had my little nose up against that one because there's some green in there that I think is the Centennial. It's like a greeny.
Isn't the Centennial like teal?
Well, yeah, it's like that greeny teal color. that you kind of see there in the middle.
Kind of see there in this right here.
You're moving
Say
around
words.
a lot. You're moving around a lot. Yeah. Kind of up
These
into
right
the
here?
yes. Yes. And then there's some striped ones over on the far right, kind of up. And then there's some I could be
Oh,
I could
like
be
this one
totally
right
wrong.
here.
Yeah, I could be totally wrong, but I just feel like you know, when we've talked to some of the people whose shoulders we stand upon, I feel like that's but I could be wrong.
You know what's cute is like a couple of these blocks here, they made a 4-patch because like notice how everything else is a 4-patch with like very like different colors in a lot of ways. But these ones, the colors are so similar that it looks like randomly those are big, one whole big block and not little postage stamp size blocks.
Yeah. But I think they are all 4 patches.
Oh yes, no, they are. It's just because they pick similar colors right there.
But when it comes together, I mean, you see like that I think the cheddar is probably the most like pops out when you can see and how those are sort of scattered in a way. Like there was a method to their madness, so they didn't have like big pools of color.
Except now when we've zoomed out, look, you really notice that those 4 patches look like one little large square. I think that's charming.
Yeah, but I just like pressed my face against it, going like, "Oh my gosh, all of this."
And I think this one, I believe, is already listed on Julia's website.
Word and Bird Nerd said 2,500. Which quilt was that? Whichever one, I'm sure it's a bargain.
Maybe she might be looking at that quilt on her website.
Possibly, yeah. The Centennial, okay.
Yeah, so here's your trees. The quilting on the trees is like, you know, amazing, like we've been seeing. It's so tiny. It's also, yeah, just looks like those straight lines again.
Oh yes, Word Bird Nerd is on her website.
Yeah, I figured. I haven't even gotten to that point yet, but she's always like, I'm gonna be 12 steps ahead. I'm gonna see it all.
It's okay to read ahead with our vendors. We want to support them.
I really like this piece too. I believe this is a Centennial piece she had. It got rough taking some photo and stuff in her booth because she's right by the door.
Yeah, I know she was right by the door. She had kind of the people that don't quite have the concept of like when you want to chat, step aside. No, when you want to chat, we're just gonna stand in Julia's booth. Like move along. If you're not shopping, move along.
All right, now we go on to Nancy Hahn.
Oh, I see something that belongs to you now, I think.
Yeah, this little piece right here I ended up buying. So she had this ridiculous medallion quilt. And then I thought people would like to see these cigarette silks in the original packaging.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's how they came. It was like a little cardboard folder.
So from across the room, do you know what I thought they were? Like seed packets.
Yeah, you know what? When they just flew up on the screen, I was like, huh, seed packets.
Yeah, doesn't it? Like, because it shows the flower. So I'm like, are those, half of me was thinking like, are those seed packets that like had a piece that maybe you'd sew into a crazy quilt? You know what I mean? Which I mean, like we're not that far off because of the cigarette silks, but it's still like, it totally looks like seed packets.
Yeah. Hey, Kenny.
Oh, Word and Bird Nerd wants a medallion quilt. Word and Bird Nerd, this one's pretty awesome. And let me think for a minute. I don't think it was super large. So if space was an issue or you didn't want something massive, I want to say it wasn't a doll quilt, maybe more like a kid, you know, like a baby quilt kind of. Oh, you want an English one? I have one in my inventory. Word and Bird Nerd, just in a little FYI. Anywho, moving on. I can't see the time, so I hope you're like.
Yeah, we're probably gonna go a little long today. It's about 3:45 our time.
Okay. She also had, look at this petticoat.
Oh, I totally missed that. Oh my goodness, look at that.
You're fired.
I know. I did stop and chat with Nancy a couple times, but
Yeah,
it was
look at
just
all
right,
the different.
right there on the corner, and I never got into her booth. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness,
all
look
the
at
different
that.
quilting.
And that is like that one's a cotton one, right? That's not.
And I believe so.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like usually when you see these like really heavily quilted petticoats, they're usually like silk.
No.
But yeah, that's beautiful.
You know, I didn't get like super close in depth to it. Just because the budget I was shopping on probably wouldn't have met up with that.
And I think to myself, what am I going to do with a quilted petticoat other than just hang it on the wall?
Yeah, display it. Here's more of those
The
puzzle balls.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then just she had a lot of loose fabric, which was great. I really liked this clamp here with this dog.
Yes, I've never seen one like that. I mean, we see the bird
that was
ones,
very
right?
cool. She also had quite a few of these Encyclopedia of Needlework books. If anyone's been looking for one of those, she had some very, very interesting things. She is one of the vendors, at least so far, that told me she did exceptionally well.
Well, she had a lot of these smaller pieces too, right?
Yeah, she had small stuff.
Yeah.
One of the things I bought from her is actually a really pretty doll quilt. And then she had like, look at this chatelaine. Oh my goodness, with those scissors. So yeah, Steph, I mean, since your birthday's coming up, everybody, Stephanie's birthday's coming up.
Just call Nancy. I'll take anything out of her booth.
Actually, remember those scissor sheets that I just got? Like, look, she's got this little piece right here. And then I had recently gotten, didn't I get one of these from Glee Kruger?
Yeah, was it at the Glee Kruger collection you got one? Yeah.
So she has a bunch of these. She also had some other kinds of stamp type things. Really pretty stuff. This was very, I liked this piece a lot. Some really pretty stuff.
Oh, and what is this thing on the right-hand side?
If I'm remembering correctly, I believe I think it was a needle book. But
it's small because I could see that paper clip on the corner of it.
it's big in terms of a needle book. I want to say it was like this size.
Okay. You know what I like, I think is intriguing, is at the top of the case, there's whatever that is with plaid, that little, I'm guessing that's like a little sewing kit or
I didn't open that, but that's probably one of those needle books, and then it's got the pincushion inside that might also have a space to put like an emery and a thimble. Only because I have something similar in my collection. It was funny. I'm taking photos and she was helping someone, and this case that we're in here on the left was a glass topped case. And, you know, she's asking me kind of like, you know, what do you want to take photos of and stuff? I'm like, just a menagerie. And then she was like, do you want me to leave this case open for you? And I'm like, why, as a matter of fact, I do. And then I think I grabbed something out of the case because I was like, this is more than just, you know, taking photos, because I had an anniversary present to buy for myself. This needle case was really cool too. Oh, I got this little pincushion here up top.
Oh yeah, that's right. And that is one that I had seen when she was like laying things out in the very beginning. I had caught sight of that and I was like, ooh, I wanted to go back and look at it. And then I saw you had bought it.
And then I really liked this bird clamp here.
Oh, that's a neat one.
Yeah, you don't see those as often with the pincushion on the front.
Pincushions on the front, and I guess the bird, like, you.
Still, it's like I think it was like the whole bird.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
I didn't play with it though. And then these chatelaines.
Yeah, I know you showed that picture the other night, the teaser, and I was like, oh, my gosh.
Yeah, look at the detail. Like, look at that. what is that like? It's like two phoenixes like
Yeah.
together.
The filigree. Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, I just love it so much. I have one. We looked at it once, didn't we? I feel I
think
remember taking pictures.
so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, on one of
Yeah.
the needlework nights, I think.
Yeah. My mom has some pieces, but hers are more like they're modern.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Bananas. Yes, word and bird nerd. Oh, I do say that I have an English medallion quilt. So here's Xenia's. We're reaching the end, but yeah, here's her. This is the only time I show this photo. Here's her stuff on those rings. I really like that way of displaying.
That I think that is a cool way of displaying the quilts.
You can't display as many as the way Hudson River quilts had theirs.
Right, but you can like
you
spread them
more of
out
it.
and look at the back more easily.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kenny was asking about the chatelaines, I guess, cast, stamped, or carved. I think that most of that stuff is probably cast. I'm pretty sure everything I've seen, yeah, is. Wordburner's asking, is it not too hard on the quilt to be scrunched like that? I think that she probably selects the ones that are okay to sort of be scrunched up like that and fed through the hoop.
Well, that and they're only going to be scrunched for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think she's packing them like that.
Right. I can't. Yeah, definitely. I can't picture her putting like a crazy quilt that has shattered silk. I don't think she would hang something like that, in a hoop. But I think these were pretty stable quilts.
I think we're going to open. She's also in Indiana. I think we're going to open right up to a video.
We're in Xenia Cord's booth now.
Xenia always has beautiful things.
Got really fabulous stuff in here. The light doesn't even do it justice. Her information will be down in the description. If you see anything that really catches your fancy, you can contact her. Look at the quilting.
Look at this. I didn't even notice this quilt here, like Queen of Hearts.
Oh
this
yeah,
little
that's
boy.
that's a McKim. I think that's a McKim Studios.
This one was made out of actually both of these were kind of like that satin.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I love that.
The quilting on this one is crazy.
This one's incredible.
It's like a polished cotton, I think. Or this one does look like it's even more shiny than that. This one is satin, I think.
And Xenia puts a lot into her description.
Yes, she does. And so, some of her quilts I've noticed, I didn't spend a whole lot of time around her booth this time, but when she had quilts in Temecula for sale, she has some that have like these pretty big cards on them that she's,
Oh, there you go. She said cotton sateen, including the back.
And that stuff is notoriously pain in the butt to work with. So, master quilter who made this and hand quilted it, yowza.
Penny said that looks almost identical to the flower garden I have. And then this quilt. Steph really wanted pictures of this quilt.
Yes.
So,
and Jill did an amazing thing because Xenia doesn't usually permit photography of her stuff. And in Temecula, she had this quilt when I was in Temecula. I did get some pictures of like individual blocks because there's Sunbonnet Sue's in here.
Yeah.
And they weren't anything I used in my stuff. I'm respectful of the fact that she did not want pictures, but Jill got permission. And I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, I went over to Steph and she had, showed me this quilt. She's like, I really want pictures, but she won't let me take pictures. And I went over to her, the next day or something, and I was like, okay, so repeat after me. Jill, I said like, Jill, you're my favorite person ever. And she like gave me the dirtiest look and like said it. And then I was like, yes, you got permission to film in Xenia's booth. And then she was like, how come you? And I'm like, I think she just didn't know that you were the other half of blah, 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 blah. But also I was the one that ran the vendors.
Yes. And
so
you definitely have the vendors have a sweet spot for you because yes, you help them and So yes, I'm grateful that you got her to agree to this. And I do
there's
believe
lots
she
of
sold this
Sues.
quilt, right? Didn't you believe that she sold this quilt?
I'm pretty sure she did, yeah.
Yeah, so
I believe she sold it after I took pictures of it. But yeah, there's lots of different. It's funny. There's like these like really kind of like simplistic Sues in here, and then I don't think that that's meant to be a Sue.
So it
but
is
it's
not.
interesting
However,
next to a Sue.
that is the Dutch cleanser, the Dutch girl cleanser. I think is it Dutch? Is it Dutch girl cleanser? Yeah, that is the logo off the Dutch girl cleanser. She's got like a little cudgel for beating the dirt out, I think. Bertha Corbett Melcher illustrated that, and she is the person who illustrated the Sunbonnet Babies. So yeah, so that was a really popular, and I think this quilt is from the 20s. I think it's the 20s.
I think I got the
30s.
Tag. I think it might actually. I think it's 30s and 40s. I got the tag.
Gotcha, okay.
Our friend Kate who cooks was also there,
yes,
and also super in love with this quilt. One thing I got was kind of a video pan, and then I'm pretty darn sure I showed the tag for it. So
the other thing that's amazing about this one, it's just got some weird stuff on it.
Yes, like I love it, like Robin Hood.
Yeah, so it's a World War II conversation sampler. I'm thinking of another one she had that was the 20s, similar kind of situation, but there's a block that says Polly want a cracker, and it's there it is.
Yeah, Kenny said that quilt has Stephanie written all over it.
It does, doesn't it? It was meant to be mine. Alas, somebody else bought it, but one day it will come back to me.
Look at the pig. Oh my God, look big.
These pigs, they look like coloring book characters. You know, like this strikes me as something like this person was like, I'm going to make this thing, and they just kept making stuff and finding inspiration in a whole bunch of different places. That's what this says to me, and I love that. You know, it's just like a big collage.
Still in Xenia's booth. Look at this star. Isn't this incredible?
It's incredible. I've got about 4 star quilts, not quite that big though. I don't even know if I have a cat.
I have no idea who that was.
And Jen says she loved that star quilt in Xenia's booth. I'm assuming this is the one you're talking about, Jen. Stars always get me.
No, I love me a star too. Love me a star. And she had this one too, hanging on the outside. Oh my. And I love the fact that they're like big ass hexagons. Love it, love it, love it. This one
was one of my favorites in Xenia's booth.
This looks like it's got some fussy cutting going on.
Look at the center. Have you ever seen anything like that with that fussy?
Isn't that incredible?
Oh yeah, it's like a snowflakey situation in the middle.
And then like they fussy cut that yellow.
Yeah. I don't think I even saw this one at all.
Oh my God. I'd take you anywhere.
Cutting on the brown. She's got a whole photo of it so you can see what a gorgeous medallion that is. And then here is her tag on here for you to pause and read.
Oh, okay. So it was in Ruth Finley's book?
There you go.
It is amazing to me when these, and this is again the example of why these vendors are considered like the preeminent vendors, you know, quilt dealers in the United States, is because they get their hands on quilts that are famous. They get their hands on quilts that have been published.
She had this, which is very interesting because
this is an Ann Orr pattern. Interesting.
There is, hold please. I only like just remembered this second.
Mod Art says, do you ever notice the same quilt year after year keep popping up? You know, I think that's Jill would probably better answer that question just because she knows these vendors better than I do. I think that, I guess, depending on how many shows they're doing, I know that they have multiple what they call showstoppers, and I think they try to rotate that stuff out so it's not like, you know, if you regularly shop a particular vendor, you're not necessarily going to see, you know, the same thing hung twice as like the but yes, they have stuff in their inventory that it has not found the right buyer yet. And
yes, they definitely hold on to stuff. One of the best examples I could probably give is Jane Lurie, only because I see her regularly at the Sturbridge show. I don't know that any of these other vendors that I'm aware of like regularly show at shows anymore. I think Stella said this is the only show that she does.
yeah, Stella,
I'm pretty sure Xenia maybe only does this and maybe Temecula. I know like PK Trouvé isn't doing a bunch of shows anymore. So with Jane, there are definitely what would be probably her mid-tier quilts that I might see, you know, a couple of times in a year. I usually see her at 2 to 3 shows a year. But her showstoppers have been different each time. And that's why sometimes you're not going to necessarily notice, because the showstopper is just like, oh, you know.
Yeah.
So the reason that I thought this was so interesting, and I only made this connection the other day, is when we started reading Mary Kay Walvogel's book, and I was just leafing through it. It's not the same quilt. It's very similar.
But it's for and or chapter.
But what's interesting is this quilt, the center there that just has the pink and white squares, they're on Xenia's quilt, they're cut off on the corner, and at the one here it's totally square.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was really interesting. And it's funny, when I at one point I was sitting in Xenia's booth and we were talking about this quilt because she had it hanging like right next to where she was sitting, and apparently they were saying like this particular pattern doesn't come up super often. I've never seen it before.
Yeah.
Like out in the wild. So at first, when I was flipping through Mary Kay's book, at first I was like, oh my God, I thought it was like the same quilt, because that would make a lot of sense if it's not seen a lot. And then I realized, no, this one's totally different because they rounded off that corner.
But that's the only difference. If they left out one pink block, I guess they made that block completely white. And here it's
pink.
Yeah, that little tip is pink. That is interesting. You have an eagle eye too.
And isn't it funny that every time it seems that we're looking at quilts and books, or looking at quilts and exhibits, or looking at quilts and dealers, every single time these like threads of connection happen. Mm-hmm. I've never seen this pattern before, whether in a book or in the wild. And I just happened to be like, Xenia, tell me more about this. Is very interesting and blah. And then I just happened to be like leafing through Mary Kay's book, and
here it is.
Yep.
Yeah. If you're reading the book along with us, it's pages 44 and 45.
And this one is one of the more affordable quilts, and stunning. It was absolutely stunning. There were some people asked me if I bought anything other than I did buy in Nancy Hahn's booth. I bought sewing tools, but people were asking me like, oh, you didn't get any quilts, or like you didn't get any like super helper discounts. And to be honest with you, not that I wasn't necessarily offered anything generous. It was just, for one, I was so busy with stuff we were doing. We did our own presentation. I helped Steph with her study center. You know, we had so many wheels turning the whole time. I didn't really have time to like think in that brain. So even at the last minute, when Cindy's like, hey, you haven't picked an anniversary present yet, I was like rushing, being like, and also I was like, quilts are just so big. You know, I don't have my own collection organized in a good way yet. And I think that kind of overwhelms me a little bit. I don't have that many. I think I probably have maybe around 20-ish. So I want to get that, before I really go into, stuff like that. So if,
This would have been a contender, though.
yes, it definitely would have. I was very taken with this quilt. And pink usually doesn't, it's gorgeous, but it doesn't necessarily like turn me on. Like, like a red and white or a blue and white really like, oh, but the pattern was just very striking, especially like the border is really stylized, and I very much enjoyed it. So, and again, you'll be able to contact Xenia if you want to like look at it. Okay, this is our last one. Marykoval. So I said on the other day on our stream on Friday, I had only taken video in her booth because I had this like tiny little window of time because people were just coming in and out. And sometimes it's easier to do a quick video than it is to do photos. So I didn't have a still photo. So I was able to just like pause a video real quick to get this trapunto on here, which was bananas. So
yeah, that quilt was wild to me.
Oh my goodness. And I really didn't have the time to like really go in and like full on appreciate. But something to tell you about Marykoval, she is Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
She is retiring. She has sold her quilt shop and retreat center. She is retiring from dealing as well. She was selling things at seminar at cost. That doesn't mean cheap cost, but it means at cost. I have permission to tell you that because, she's still downsizing. She did not sell out while she was there. So pay attention to things that you see in the video. I don't necessarily like know all the prices, but she is very motivated to move on.
Yeah, she had a quilt. She actually had, I think, 2 things in her booth that I kept passing and like seeing out of the corner of my eye, and I was like, oh.
Yes, she also has really nice antique fabrics.
Mm-hmm.
Very reasonable prices. There was actually a red one that I was looking at over and over in there. It just didn't have a price on it, and they were so busy yakking with people,
Here we are in Mary Koval's booth. She's got some really fantastic pieces. She is going out of business. She's ready to retire. So she's now selling things at cost. Her info to get in touch will be in the description.
My little red, white, blue boy. That's the one that I was like, oh,
Really cool.
Yeah, and then this, oh my God, this quilt. It's the trapunto is so bananas. This right here, this cable, it looks like it's knitted to me.
it does.
Like it's like an Afghan.
Very textured.
Yes. Again, I barely had a chance to even full on introduce myself to her and really chat because people were just left and right with her and her husband.
Well, I mean, everybody knows that they're downsizing and.
I've got another one.
More here of Mary Koval's booth.
I love this.
This one's really very striking. The light here doesn't really do it justice.
How many times did I say the light doesn't do it justice?
The whole thing is really incredible. And she's got books. She's got blocks. She's got squares and fabrics and things.
Lots of lovely things.
Yeah, she had a nice menagerie of different things. Yep. And that is the
Yay!
end. That was really cute. I think we need to make like a GIF of you like doing that.
My little steel clap.
Yeah. Ooh, no, stop.
Oh my gosh. Well, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was Those a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff.
Druid. Yeah, I know you saw that. The cat jumped down and like almost took everything with him. Well, I've got some reading to do for tomorrow.
Me too. Me too. And you know what? We actually didn't go too far over. I thought we were gonna go super over.
Yeah, not too bad.
We are still gonna have to figure out. We've got museum exhibits that we have to show. I have an unboxing that we have to show. So
Joe Cunningham has a new video out. He's gonna have to wait.
yeah, we've got stuff to show. So who knows? We could end up with some more dual streams or added stuff. You know, watch for announcements. There's
Yeah,
things going on.
We have a lot, so we'll get around to it all eventually.
All right,
Well,
I guess I'm gonna go pick up my
for
car.
Cake to say goodbye. So we'll see you guys. Well, if you're following along with us reading, we'll see you tomorrow with soft covers for hard times. I think we're doing our second section. And Wednesday is needlework nights, Mockleen, and I'll be back Thursday. Normal stuff.
Okay.
So, all right. Bye, Jill.
Bye, Fake.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.